Hi, I'm Emika. Welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my new album, Drei. Yeah. Rolling. Okay, this song is called Battles. It's the lead track from my album. And it's a really simple story, basically. It's about how over the years I had to teach myself to love the struggle and the fight. I mean, I don't want to compromise ever with my music and my production and my sound, and I do everything myself. And that's sometimes really difficult to maintain this position of power. And I've had lots of complex relationships with people in the business over the years. And I had to just learn to love the fight in the end. So this song is kind of like this celebration of the art of war in a way, or the way that I feel like I win many battles, but ultimately there's still a massive struggle doing what I do, being a record producer. So yeah, this is Battles. It's a very, like, again, wide sci-fi, powerful synth-driven track. Okay, so I'll start with the vocal. Again, there is this the vocal? I think this is the vocal. Okay, so the vocal starts with the word war, which I cut up and repeated. And again, I have 4 layers of the same vocal. 2 of the layers are panned hard left and right. The other 2 layers are just slightly off center, so slightly opened up. And it creates this amazing, like, natural chorus effect between all the different vocal takes. Battles. Oh yeah, I also cut out the T in the tool. Battles. Battles. Each one I win, still losing the war. Yeah, so I like the way that I can cut out all the consonant sounds in the lyrics and cut and paste them, and then it creates a parallel between the actual drum sounds and the hi-hats, and I don't need to do so much mixing later on because the sounds themselves already are in a similar zone. And then with the main vocal, I love these hi-hats. I think these are like my favorite hi-hats I ever made. So yeah, the hi-hats come from MFB and went through the Pomona filter back in here, and then again, like, lots of chopping and cutting to get the right tones that I wanted together. And then I think I have additional guitar amp, plug-in, compression, loads of reverb, and possibly some more filtering going on. Yeah, and I really hate hi-hats that just run the whole time in the rhythm. I think it really kills grooves generally. So I try and treat hi-hats and percussion more like vocal phrases. And then other percussion sounds from these machines I also ran through the filter, again cut into a million tiny pieces. This is all my hand cut work. Faded everything, tiny millisecond amounts each time, and as you can see, it was a long job just for this one sound, and it sounds like this. And then there's this other percussion element. I'm not sure what it does. Oh, again, like a noise, basically a piece of noise, which I made sound like a clap with a really hard attack. And again, ran through the filter and back into the machine. And then I also found these samples, which I love, which are in my sampler. I used to work at Native Instruments, and sometimes I would take home samples that I found at work that I liked. And these samples are from, I don't know, actually, they're just called urban kicks. So I've got some urban kicks and some urban claps, which I just pencil everything in with the mouse. I just program it all in. I've always worked like that. Yeah, and these are they're like cheating a little bit because they already sound great. And I just was so exhausted from cutting and pasting all the other sounds together that I was really happy to just have an fresh out of the box, hard, already compressed drum samples. So yeah, I like these urban stuff. Sounding pretty cool. And then all the other sounds I have. Hunger, I love hunger, all this emptiness. I want more. Okay, and then there's not much else in the tune, actually. It's just a couple of synth layers, which I recorded from the Axis Virus. So I've got this absolutely massive, wide bass that I made. And I'm like always playing with the filter at the same time. And then I have, again, a really wide pad sound that I made. Yeah, and then I had this other like cheeky, really in your face, kind of cheesy lead synth part. Which I think is... So that's that guy. And then at the end, just for a little bit of decoration, I reverse some of the vocals. And then also on the synth, the same pad sound, I think I like inverted the... I basically changed the overtone and harmonics within the pad sound itself to create like a really intricate variation. So instead of taking a totally different sound, I just tried to work with the same sound I already had. And I think it sounds really nice, this one. basically you get to the end of battles and it's like you're winning and you have this amazing euphoric moment at the end. So yeah, I'll just play the ending.
Battles, I have battles. Each one I win says I want more.
Really dramatic ending. I think actually when I recorded the vocals, I built a small booth with my panels here. Because this vocal really needed some power, so obviously sitting down is not a good idea. So I'm pretty sure I built a booth like kind of here, and stood quite far back to give it like battles, so you can basically like shout at the microphone and still have a really great sound. So that had a different vocal production technique. This song started out as a really cheesy song called Sunrise, which I hated. And I started out by playing on the piano, and I've just came up with this lovely little theme. Sometimes these lovely themes come out and I'm a bit unsure about what to do with them because they're just so beautiful. And then I just spend weeks and months trying to twist them into something a bit more complex and a bit more interesting and not so like shallow in terms of the emotion. And yeah, so this track started out really cheesy. I evolved it into a different kind of cheesiness, a song called Miracles. I worked really hard on it. I finished it and I loved it, and I felt like I'd really expressed something important. And yeah, then the following week I decided that I completely hated it, and I took the elements that I liked still, and I was like basically just in a really bad mood, and I hated how sweet the original sounded, so I just kind of tried to do like a new version or like a different mix of the original Miracles. And yeah, so this is Miracles Prelude, and this is like the dark brother that comes before the Sweet Sister song, so they've become like a pair now. And I recorded my 100-year-old piano really badly, loads of noise on the channel. I think I had like the gain chain set up really badly and just was playing anyway and not realizing, but I kind of liked it. And then I compressed this like noise to push it further to the front, just so it has this like roughness, because I wanted to get rid of all the sweetness. So the piano sounds like this. Yeah, I also boosted the noise as well with this lovely waves EQ. Yeah, and then another thing that I love to do is cutting up the piano. So the original recording, if we just stretch it out, this is the sweet the sweet piano I was playing. Yeah, I loved it at the time, and then I just hated it after a while. So I changed it into this. Yeah, and I just wanted to keep it really badass and really beat driven with this like hardness. So yeah, really simple, clean drum sounds that I've had for years. And just kick, snare, hat, really simple. and you can look here, I like have different rhythms programmed in each cell, and I just literally loop them for 8 bars and switch up the pattern every 8 bars. So I wanted to keep the drum sounds real simple, but make an amazing groove, a really simple groove that kept switching every 8 bars. Then I have another really simple sounding bass line from this mini Moog. Yeah, basically like the most simple bass sound in the whole world is always what I think works best. And then I had a more complex sounding pad, which is from this dupe over here, my digital Jupiter. Doesn't sound nice at all. It's exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, all together. Okay, and now like the coolest thing I think I've ever managed to achieve in my work so far. I kept the vocal from the first version, and yeah, on the vision I had to just make something badass and really destructive sounding, I just decided to pitch my vocal down an octave, because there's loads of guys that constantly take female vocals and pitch them up loads and make these kind of chipmunk effects, which I don't think are that nice. So I was it's kind of like a my own response on that production technique that a lot of the guys do. It's like my vocal, female vocal, pitching it down an octave, and I think it sounds really fresh.
Lonely days, lonely nights.
Sounds really creepy, actually.
What do you know about causing a fight? Fighting a cause. Where do you stand? I stand for freedom, baby. Now give me your hands.
And then I thought it would be really funny if I did a duet with myself. So there's like octave down me, and I just sang along with it, and this is how it is.
I can cut you out of this. I can cut you, I can cut you, I can cut you free from this. Now give me your hands.
Yeah, so the original song Miracles is about being set free and how overwhelming something beautiful can be when you're struggling and suffering in so many areas of your life, and then a beautiful thing comes along. It's like often you can't even believe it, that it's real, and that's quite a sad thing in a way. And Miracles Prelude is about being in prison. So it's like the moment before you're set free and you're just realizing that actually you're in prison and you don't want to be, and you have the ability to set yourself free. So it's the prelude to Miracles. And yeah, and then I just created like this massive explosion. It's supposed to be like the realization that you can empower yourself and just like be free yourself.
Yes. Now give me your hands.
Yeah, so I've got bass line, kick drum, sub kick, and then I added in another bass line. Okay, this is my favorite synth in the whole world, the EFM one, that has the worst interface. You need like a magnifying glass to like see what you're doing, but it sounds so good. And I always have bass and sub in stereo. All cutting engineers generally don't like me for that reason, but it sounds amazing. So this is like my trademark bass preset sound, which I made like 10 years ago, and I always use it. Love it. It's really wobbly and then just massive. So I've got that one, and what's this? Oh my God, then I layered it with a mini moog sub dub. Jesus. Okay, so I've got 2 sublines, one's mono and one is stereo. And then, what's that? Okay, just like a silly decoration sound. Again, like kicks, drums. Okay, I definitely can't forget to talk about Massive, because Massive is amazing. When I worked at Native, I was lucky enough to work with Mike, who created Massive, and this is one of his like funky, weird presets that I think they didn't use in the end, so I just took it home. Yeah, it's massive. It's literally massive. And then, yeah, loads of vocals. So I went to town on the vocal harmonies. And like, yeah, there's a reversed vocal. All the vocals, I reversed them to lead up to the main phrase. That's Miracle's Prelude.